Do you want angry Patriots fans? I guess we do probably all morning long, right? This is Mike from Florida. Hello, Mike.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
What's
Happy
up?
Friday.
Yes.
No, I just want to comment. So I'm not coming at you, Shime. I'm with you. I want to see the kid play, but I just want to kind of sympathize with people who don't want the kid, quote unquote, ruined. I think, especially after watching last night, like with that offensive line, it's more probable than not that because of the deficiencies on the offensive line, it's more probable than not that it's going to hinder his progress, which it is what it is at this point. There's no turning back on the fact that the organization itself didn't do anything whatsoever when they knew that they were going to be bringing in this young kid, did nothing to reinforce the offensive line that was horrible last year. So we're stuck with it, and you're just going to have to say, screw it, play the kid. If it slows them down a little bit because the offensive line sucks, it's their own damn fault. It's just like watching the Bruins and their mess with Swayman. Okay, if you didn't want to negotiate with Swayman, then you should have just kept Allmark. When it comes to the organizations in the city of Boston, I don't know what's going on. Is it something in the dirty water up there? Because it seems like every single organization, GM, et cetera, just doesn't recognize its own massive flaws.
Yeah, I would just counter with that. Like, I don't think that all of last night's issues were entirely on the offensive line, especially in the first half. I think a lot of it was on Jacoby Brissett. The Jets were blitzing on 50% of their plays in the first half. 50. They ended up over 33% blitzing for the entire game, which is 10% more than Robert Saleh teams do on any given week. And there was a reason for that, and it's because Jacoby Brissett would come to the line of scrimmage, and he wouldn't even be able to identify where the pressure was coming from. The very first drive, that third down, they showed the camera view from behind the line of scrimmage, and anybody on the planet could see, oh, there's 4 guys on the right side, 4 defensive Jets players lined up on my offensive line's right side. And yet there was no protection shift. There was no bring the tight end over to chip. There was nothing. There was zero movement. There was zero initiative by the quarterback. And so I blame him for not recognizing that and not having a hot read. Like, that's the whole point. That's why Aaron Rodgers torched your ass, is because when you did decide to bring the blitz, he had the ball out in under 2 seconds. Yeah. Like, the ball was in his hands and it was out. That and Jacoby Brissett just does not do that.
But the thing I always look at, and Greg, we always talk about, and this is to the callers, what happens is, and it looked like there was another point in the game. It seems like every game that they play, Jacoby Brissett is lying on the ground looking like he's hurt. What happens if he does get hurt? What are you going to then do? Are you going to say, oh, we can't put Drake Maye in because the offensive line is not?
So you're saying that when somebody like Mike calls and says you can't put Drake Maye in this season behind this line, you're saying you're going to have to eventually anyway, because at some point Jacoby Brissett is going to get killed. But is what you're saying.
This was going to be my lead. If people are still going with that because they don't want to see Drake Maye injured, then they need to stop, because Gerard Mayo doing that yesterday in that game after Jacoby took 5 sacks is asking for Drake Maye to get hurt. So you put him in when there's no hope of winning that game, and you're going to throw your rookie quarterback in enemy territory when the O-line looks as bad as they've ever looked, and he gets sacked twice. Like, that, you can't say that they're worried about him getting hurt if you can't have it both ways. Can't say you don't want him to get hurt and then throw him into a situation like that.
And you can't cite quarterbacks like Jim Plunkett in the Twitch chat in today's NFL. It is an entirely different game. You cannot touch the quarterback. And the odds of a quarterback getting hurt are higher when it's a guy less mobile under center. So you're waiting for it to happen with Jacoby Brissett. And you just don't understand what's happened in the NFL if you still hold on to these false beliefs that holding out a guy works. Patrick Mahomes was on the Chiefs in 2017. Do you know how the Chiefs started that year? I'll tell you, 5-0. So if the Patriots are 5-0, we're not talking about Drake Maye.
Right.
We're talking about a team that is obviously miles and miles and maybe a galaxy away from contending. So at least learn what you have with the most important position as soon as possible so as to have the ability to build around it or know that you have to rebuild entirely.
But that, and I get it, it's 2 rookies, but that offensive line is horrendous. Horrendous. It's like every Monday after a game, we're going to walk in here and we're going to ask this about Jacoby Brissett.
Did the man die? He did.
And what was, speaking of Robert Saleh, what was the verbal violence that was directed at him by Aaron Rodgers in the first quarter after that touchdown last night?
I zoomed in far too much to read his lips.
Okay.
I think he said,
something about his leg?
No, I think he said, stop, it's too early.